if you take all your wrinkles away, the map of your life is different. I don't really want to erase anything from my life.
Then, are there many women that you know, I mean, even younger than you, who would be that honest about age?
But what I don't understand is honest about age. I mean, age means you have lived, so you have to honor that. And when you age, you already have the years before. So I don't understand the concept of, not wanting to say your age. I'm 77 years old, and I couldn't be a week younger because last week I learned a lot. So I just don't understand the concept of being intimidated by your age.
I know.
I think it's a victory.
Yeah, that's great. But you work in the fashion industry. You live in New York. You know so many women who are trying to erase the wrinkles and jack up their faces and dress in a way. But that's why this is so interesting. And actually, your story may have something to do with that. You say that 18 months after your mother emerged alive from Auschwitz, you were born. I'm going to get to that in a moment. But first I want to ask Charmine, because there's an extraordinary scene whereby some of your mother, the fragments of the little letters your mother wrote that she was on the way, essentially to the concentration camp, that were eventually found, because you found them decades later. I'm going to play this clip from the documentary.
She took some cardboard and she wrote to her parents, and she threw it on the street, hoping that somebody would find it. And she never, she said merci beaucoup. She gave the address, and she wrote to her parents, Mamika et toi mon petit papa, votre petite Lily va partir. Où elle va, elle ne sait pas, mais Dieu est partout, n'est-ce pas? Alors, où qu'elle soit, jamais elle ne sera seule ni malheureuse. Je veux que vous soyez tous les deux très courageux. Je pars avec le sourire. Je vous le jure.
I think that's extraordinary too. I leave with a smile. It takes something to be able to write that then.
It wasn't true. I mean, it's not like she left with a smile, but she wanted her parents to think that she... And she did survive, she survived 14 months. And she always said that she felt that she survived because her mother's will. Yeah.
You say throughout the film that your mantra is freedom and also being in charge as a woman. You keep using those words throughout the film. And so really, let's jump forward to when you came to the United States, and around that time, essentially became a businesswoman out of nowhere with the famous wrap dress. And how difficult was that? Because I saw in the film that you had to crisscross all over America, that, people were not prepared really to deal with a woman who was peddling these wares at that time.
It was the adventure of my life, We don't choose where we are born. We don't choose who our parents are. But what we can do, and we don't even choose our destiny, but we try to navigate it the best that we can. I wanted very much to be a woman in charge, to be a woman independent, even though I had married a young, very attractive aristocrat with money. I wanted very much to have my own money and to be a woman in charge. And I became that woman because of a little dress. And so I traveled around and meeting women, wrapping dresses around them. And the more confident I was, the more I was actually selling confidence with a dress. And it was the liberation of women, and it was the time. And this dress became also a flag of freedom.
And I wonder, Diane, you're sitting next to Charmine, obviously a younger generation, but also from a country, let's face it, Pakistan, that simply would never be wearing wrap dresses. What does it feel like to be a successful woman in Pakistan?
Well, I will say this, that I'm very much a product of Pakistan. I was born and raised there. I found my voice in Pakistan. I live and work out of Pakistan. The space exists for women like myself to be there. We have to continue to fight every single day for our rights. But let's be honest, women in America are fighting for their reproductive rights these days. Women in Europe are fighting for their rights. There are giant steps being taken around the world for women who are being pushed back. Some of us live in countries which are far more difficult for women than others, but I will say that women like myself stay in our countries, we speak out, and we try and push the narrative forward so that our children and our daughters have a better tomorrow.
And I wanted to, I was actually very interested in when you touched on Diane's sexuality. And I mean, there was that amazing clip where, Diane talks about having had an affair, or I don't know how you describe it, but with Warren Beatty and Ryan O'Neal in the same weekend, and just nearly went into a threesome with Mick Jagger and David Bowie. I mean, that's pretty hot stuff. Why did you want to include that?
Well, you should really ask me why I even said that. And the truth is that at that time, it was something to boast about. Why a businessman can go on tour, arrive at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and go out with one man and one girl and another girl the next day, and why can't a woman do that? I mean, why? Yeah. And so it's part of just speaking the truth, and I was quite proud of it. I mean, I actually still am. They were in their early 30s.
I wonder what impact that had on your children and on you. You had 2 children with him.
Well, first of all, more than being gay, he was promiscuous, so, there was a time also in New York where people were very promiscuous, and then all of a sudden AIDS came. And it was hard, mostly for my children, because they were growing up. At that time, they were teenagers, and to be teenagers and to have a fear of, a sexual relationship could kill you was something very different than what I grew up with. And they talk about it in the movie, and we never really actually addressed it while it was there. But the 3 of us were with Egon when he died, and it was a very profound moment, but actually a very beautiful moment.
I was wondering if I could have a talk with you sometime, because Mummy, you don't know anything about my life. That just was like a dagger through my heart. I guess, I mean, how did you feel about that moment?
No, I love that letter. I love that letter so much that I have a picture.
I know, but Diane, it was because you weren't around.
And then, yes, but it's part of the process,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when your children grow up, it's part of the process. They test you, you test them. They thought, I wasn't there enough. I was actually there more than they thought. I never left them mentally. When they went to boarding school, I wrote every day. And then you go through a process, and then they grow up. And I mean, my children and I, we talk twice a day at least.
As someone who's a working mother and who travels a lot for work, reading that letter and sort of filming the relationship that Diane has with her children really taught me a lot about myself. Like Diane and I would often say, well, 25 years from now, your children are going to be telling you that you were not there for them. Let's be honest, we're not like miracle workers. There's going to be a ball that's going to drop at some point, as long as we pick it up and move on. And I think this film will resonate with working mothers everywhere, because they will see a reflection of their own relationship with their children in the letters, in the moments that they feel like their children missed out on or they missed out on.
Yeah, I just finally want to ask you, Diane, because you are in the love of your life now with your husband, Barry Diller, and what is it about life that makes you pleased, satisfied at the age of 77, as you said, that you can say, yes, this is what it's all about?
Well, first, it's family. I mean, when you look back, I mean, I'm now hopefully entering the winter of my life. When you look back at the end, The most important thing is the family, and the thing I'm proudest of, my best samples are my family. So, and then it's really honoring life. My mother did not die. She, for whatever miracle, she did not die. She survived. She put the torch of freedom in my hand. So all I did, try to do all my life, is honoring life.
Well, it's been an amazing life, and it continues to be. And I just want to maybe end up with you, Charmaine, because you've done a lot of documentary, and now you're going to be the first woman and the first woman of color to direct a Star Wars.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Now,